it's been an incredible season for the McLaren team. And 2 years in a row, winning the championship, and it's been awesome watching you guys. We started the partnership, I think, 5 years ago in the middle of the pandemic. What started as a sponsorship 5 years ago has now grown into a full-blown partnership across Cisco. And it's been incredible to see that Cisco is the technology which powers networking, security, as well as Cisco collaboration. If you think about the roadbacks a couple of years ago, it's not been exactly a very straight line. And so what pit stop moment has been a defining moment for you?
Oh, good question. Probably starts to the start of our partnership, which was, unfortunately, that period was COVID. But when you think about how the world had changed and how we needed to operate communications and being connected had never been more important. And so it was great to have you join at a time where that really came to the forefront. And we've been able to take those learnings and carry them forward, because communication, whether it's communication with the race car, our team, or our people, or the factory, is critically important. And the quicker you can communicate, the more efficient you can communicate. The better data you have around communications ultimately leads us to be a better performing racing team.
So that was in the earlier part. Any other pit stop moments, especially over the last couple of years, the 2 years?
Lots of pit stop moments. Of course, I think in our business, it's all about small incremental gains, marginal gains. So I think our two drivers definitely are part of our secret sauce, and ultimately the culture, but the culture comes back from communications and relationships.
So McLaren, very much like Cisco, is all about speed, but with precision, right?
Correct.
So how do you make sure that innovation stays at the top gear without breaking your engine?
I think, again, with us, it's all about marginal gains, fine tuning, being a little bit better today than we were yesterday. Mistakes are okay, as I say in the factory. Mistakes are okay because you learn from them. Just don't make the same one twice. So it's creating a mindset, a culture, an environment where everyone is trying to do just a little bit better. And when you get 1,400 people rowing the same direction, all taking little steps forward, it's amazing how impactful that can be.
So one of the key things with respect to leadership is that finding that balance, right? Like a balance between empathy, but driving with accountability. When you think about your leadership philosophy, how do you drive that culture with empathy, but with accountability, especially when the stakes are very high?
Yes. I try and lead by example, as does my leadership team, being clear, concise, and precise with where we're trying to go. Empowering people, recognizing that we have the best people in sports in their respective positions. And so I very much feel my role, the leadership team's role, is to fuel them, give them direction, let them own what they're working on, and then creating a lot of teamwork, because as I mentioned, we have 1,400 people all working on 2 race cars at the end of the day. And so it takes a phenomenal amount of teamwork.
I also like what you said, it's okay to make a mistake, because if you don't try, you can't basically have a culture of innovation, right?
Well, think about in your world, when you're developing technology, you're constantly going, that didn't work, let's try this. So you're actually learning and developing by a series of failures, if you'd like. Of course, you don't want to put the product on the racetrack till you're ready to go, but that's what research and development is. You're research, you're developing, you're learning along the way, you're making mistakes, you're fine-tuning, and that's how you ultimately develop a great product.
You mentioned this earlier. You have data coming out of everywhere, right? From the sensors, from the systems, and from the live seed. Let's say your amazing McLaren car could talk to you, and it might actually say, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed with all of the notifications I'm getting. Does your team ever feel the same way? And how do you make sure, this is a follow-up question to that data actually is helping you and not really overwhelming everyone, especially during the race?
I think we pull down. We have 300 sensors on the race car, as you mentioned, 1.5 terabytes of data, and that's obviously way too much data for human consumption. So we rely on our technology partners, AI, to take all this data and then tee up for us what's the data that's relevant for whether it's a pit stop strategy, a tire strategy, a start strategy, whatever the case may be. And then ultimately the human needs to make the decision, but we rely on technology to try and kind of pull forward what hopefully is an obvious decision. Sometimes it's not an obvious decision, but we need technology to help not only give us the technology and the data, but to kind of take the noise out of the system.
In fact, we said human in the loop. That is exactly what we say, especially when you think about AI. AI is going to give you all of the insights across the board, especially on the networking side. Again, similarly, we get a lot of data across the board, but we help people by making use of the data, but also making sure that there's always human in the loop.
100%. We literally have to make split-second decisions sometimes. If it's say 20 seconds in pit lane for a pit stop and an incident happens 22 seconds out, we've got 2 seconds to make do we pit, do we not? It might take 18 seconds to get the tires out of the tire blankets, which is how we warm the tires, another 2 seconds. So we have to make in 4 seconds, do we pit, do we not? And that could be the difference between winning or losing the race. And then another 2 seconds to decide what tire compound do we want to run. So as you can imagine, when you have all this going on, 2 seconds to make a decision. Someone just needs to make a decision. You don't have any time to debate it. And sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong.
So you also mentioned this, and it's been there since the beginning of our relationship. Connectivity is very critical for your global team. How has that instant collaboration changed the way you operate across multiple different locations, across multiple different time zones? Oh my God, when you think about the time zones. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, ultimately, when you come back to split-second decisions and our decision-making teams, if you'd like, if you can imagine, we're racing Australia. We're connected back to our factory in Woking, Surrey. We're connected between the pit wall and the garage. So, you have 2 seconds to make a decision, and that decision and that technology and that data, that's running from the race car back to the factory, to the pit wall, who then has to talk to the garage.
Split second.
And you literally have 2 seconds to make decisions. And so to be able to rely on technology reliably, and then you talk about security, there's some bad actors in this world who...
Especially even now. It's
going
to be more serious now.
And where our technology is not contained to one location, right? It's bouncing literally around the world. So it's critically important. We couldn't run our race cars without Cisco and the security and the communications and the networking that comes along with that. We literally couldn't start our race car. No longer a key.
Wow. So let me add on to that. So let's say we gave you a magic technology wish. It could be one upgrade, it could be an AI brand new tool, does not matter. What would you ask?
I think it would depend who you ask in which department. If you talk
Don't worry about it. Across Cisco.
Then for me, and it's something that actually we're starting to work on, we get so much incoming. We have hundreds of millions of fans. I'd love to be able to respond to everyone in a very relevant, customized way to actually have some engagement. We can't do that with the...
At scale.
At scale.
Everybody's talking about AI, right? Like AI agents. AI is actually changing every industry, doesn't matter, vertical. Where do you see AI helping you?
Everywhere,
Okay.
everywhere. It has different levels of maturity and embracement, if you'd like, inside our organization. I know we're using AI when it comes to things like tire strategy.
So how are you using AI for tire strategy?
Ultimately, we're able to look at not only our tires, but our competitor set tires. And so we get all this information, all this imagery, and we use AI to take, it comes back to all this data we get. And if we hear one of our competitors saying, I'm struggling with my tires, because we all listen to each other, sometimes that's accurate information. Sometimes we're trying to throw inaccurate information out there. And so we need to go look at everyone's tires to understand if it correlates what they're saying is reality. So we get all this tire imaging. And then what we do is we get that imaging in, but we need to look instantly. AI will help go, forget about these 1,000 images, look at these 10 because we see some anomalies on them. So that's an area in which we're using AI. We use AI from it's raining, what happened last year at the race when it rained. We can use AI to predict strategies. And then of course on the fan side, we are having some fan engagement using AI, so we can start talking to our great fans in a customized way. And then of course we're using AI, things everywhere from our legal department to data. I used it in one of our driver negotiations where I literally just wanted some historical info, where normally I would have gone to our head of strategy and I would have asked, can you share this information for me? And you put it in the AI model in 45 seconds. It's like, wow, there you go. And so I got what I needed quickly and I didn't disrupt my team. So I see AI as a great productivity tool. It's amazing.
That's awesome. They say that races are won on the track, but really they're won with the connections behind it. So how has the network you built, when I say the network, it's about people, data, and technology, changed the way McLaren competes?
It comes back to productivity and efficiency. It lets us make smarter, more informed, quicker decisions. So we're able to just kind of take it up a gear. And so I know there's been a lot of conversation around AI as far as maybe some people think it reduces workforce, and maybe in some businesses it does. For us, what it does is a great enabler we all have 10 things we want to do on our to-do list, or 100 things, and you never quite get to that bottom 10% because you can never get caught up. It's amazing how you can look at your to-do list, you can insert AI and get things done quicker so you can be just simply more productive. So for us, we feel like it's an extra turbocharger.
In fact, you're talking about your to-do list. That is exactly what we launched at our recent conference with WebEx1. Now you have an agent, which is called Note Taker, and you don't have to be in a WebEx meeting. All you have to do is to click on the Note Taker and it'll start taking notes for you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then it'll come up with action items, and then you can go and invoke the task agent, and the task agent will automatically complete the task for you. How cool is that, right?
It's lets you go home at 5 a little bit more often.
That's exactly right. If you had to describe the McLaren and the Cisco partnership in one word only, what would that be and why?
Well, I'd have to be connected. And that's what we do so well together, and you connect us all around the world. And without that connectivity, we couldn't go racing. So I think being connected in a 24/7 world where we're racing around the world is critically important to our success.
In fact, you talk about connected. So recently, on the collaboration side, we launched a brand new category, in terms of all the portfolio, which is called Connected Intelligence. Right? Being able to connect people, process and technology in a more intelligent way with the world of AI, so that you can actually bring about more productivity and do it efficiently. And the other thing with respect to Cisco is, if you're connected, you're protected.
Yep,
that's what Cisco actually does when you think about networking and when you think about security. So Zach, thank you so much.
Thank you
for your time,
and
your
thank
partnership.
You for the partnership.
We really, really appreciate you. We are so proud to be a part of the McLaren story, and even more excited for what is ahead of us. And so with that, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.